The Zephyrian ships looked like floating crystals against the black of space. They had ruled this part of the galaxy for thousands of years with their bright energy weapons and cold metal hearts. When the humans first came to their space 18 months ago, the Zephyrians laughed at them. The human ships were made of simple metal and used chemical rockets that looked old and stupid. High Chancellor Vextar sat in his crystal throne on the planet Kethmori. His pale blue skin shimmered under the light of 3 suns. He had watched many species try to challenge the Confederacy before. All of them learned to bow down or disappeared forever. The humans would be no different, but something was wrong. The reports kept coming in from the border worlds. Human ships were everywhere. They built new colonies faster than weeds growing after rain. Every human ship that arrived brought not just people, but whole factories that could eat asteroids and spit out new ships in weeks. The Confederacy had spent centuries keeping other species weak by controlling who could mine what and where. Now the humans were taking everything they wanted. Chancellor, his military advisor General Crick spoke with his thin voice. The humans have established 17 new mining operations in the Outer Ring this month alone. They are not asking permission. They are not paying tribute. They simply take what they need. Vextar's crystal fingers drummed on his throne. This was not how things worked. New species were supposed to come asking for permission to join the Great Confederacy. They were supposed to be grateful for protection and order. The humans acted like they owned the galaxy already. What do our scouts tell us about their military strength? Vextar asked. Their ships are primitive, but there are so many of them. Every human transport carries weapons. Every mining ship has armor. They do not separate their military from their civilians like civilized species do. They are all soldiers. This bothered Vextar more than he wanted to admit. The Confederacy ruled by keeping things organized. Military ships fought wars. Civilian ships carried cargo. Government ships made laws. The humans seemed to think every ship should do everything. It was messy and wrong. The reports kept getting worse. Human colonies were not just mining stations or research posts. They were fortress worlds where children learned to fight alongside their parents. Every human settlement became a military base that could build more ships and train more soldiers. The Confederacy had never seen anything like it. Sir, another advisor spoke up. The humans are calling their home planet a death world. Our translation computers are having trouble with this term. What does it mean? From what we can understand, they come from a planet so dangerous that everything there tries to kill everything else. They seem proud of this fact. Vextar felt a chill run through his crystal body. The Confederacy had explored thousands of worlds. Most of them were peaceful places where intelligent life grew slowly and carefully. Some had dangerous animals or bad weather, but nothing that proud species would brag about surviving. The final straw came when human ships entered the Kepler system without permission. This was deep inside Confederacy space, where no one had dared to go without invitation for 1,000 years. The humans did not ask to talk. They did not send ambassadors. They just arrived and started building. Vextar called together the War Council. Representatives from all 12 member species gathered in the Crystal Hall. Some flew on energy wings. Others crawled on many legs. A few floated in gas bubbles. All of them had learned to fear and respect Confederacy power. The human infestation has gone too far, Vextar announced. They spread like a disease through our space. They take our resources. They ignore our laws. They make our other subjects think they can do the same. What do you propose, Chancellor? Asked Ambassador Thrill, whose species had joined the Confederacy after their planet was cracked in half as a demonstration. We end this now. We assemble the Grand Fleet, 10,000 ships with planet-killing weapons. We show these Deathworlders what real power looks like. The vote was unanimous. It always was. Within 3 weeks, the greatest military force in galactic history gathered at the edge of human space. 10,000 crystal ships formed perfect formations that stretched across star systems. Each ship carried weapons that could melt continents. The fleet had never failed to bring immediate surrender from any species that saw it. Admiral Zexhai commanded the Grand Fleet from his flagship, a ship larger than most moons. He opened a communication channel to all human frequencies and spoke in the voice that had made 50 species surrender without firing a shot. This is Admiral Zexhai of the Zephyrian Grand Fleet. You have entered Confederacy space without permission. You have taken resources that belong to the Confederacy. You have ignored all warnings to withdraw. This ends now. The Admiral paused to let his words sink in. In the past, this was when the begging usually started. Primitive species would offer anything to avoid the horror about to fall on them. You have one rotation of your nearest star to withdraw all human presence from Confederacy space. If even one human ship remains after this time, we will destroy every human world we can find. We will hunt your species to extinction. There will be no negotiations. There will be no mercy. Withdraw now or face the consequences. The Admiral closed the channel and waited. He expected panic. He expected desperate offers of tribute and surrender. He expected the humans to learn their place in the galaxy like everyone else had. What came back made no sense at first. The translation computers worked for several minutes before they could make sense of the human response. When they did, Admiral HFY stared at the message for a long time. 2 words. Just 2 words in simple human language. Come try. The Admiral called the message up on his screen again and again. He ran it through the translation computers multiple times. He had his communications officers check for hidden meanings or coded messages. But there was nothing else. Just 2 words that no species had ever dared to send back to the Grand Fleet. Sir? His second-in-command asked. What are your orders? Admiral HFY looked out at his 10,000 ships. The most powerful military force in the known galaxy, ships that could crack planets and boil oceans, weapons that had never failed to bring victory. Signal the fleet, he said. We go to war. The Grand Fleet turned toward human space like a crystal wave of death. Behind them, the Confederacy prepared for another quick victory. They had no idea they were about to learn what the word Deathworld really meant. The Grand Fleet reached Kepler 442b expecting to find scared farmers and miners ready to surrender. Admiral HFY had done this many times before. Usually the primitive species would send out ships with white flags or peace symbols. Sometimes they would offer tribute or beg for mercy. The smart ones surrendered before the shooting started. The humans did none of these things. As the Grand Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, they found something that made no sense. Kepler 442b was supposed to be a new mining colony with maybe a few thousand humans. Instead, the sensors showed a fortress world with millions of people and thousands of defense platforms. Sir, the sensor officer reported, I am reading massive industrial facilities across the entire planet. Military bases on every continent. Orbital stations armed with weapons I do not recognize. Admiral HFY studied the readings. This was wrong. The humans had only been here for 6 months. You could not build this much in 6 months. It was impossible. Perhaps our intelligence was incorrect, his second-in-command suggested. No, the Admiral said slowly. Look at the construction patterns. These are not permanent buildings. They are temporary structures built for war. The humans knew we were coming. The realization hit him like cold space. The humans had not just built a colony. They had built a trap. The first human message came from the planet's surface. A woman's voice spoke in clear Confederacy standard, which surprised the Admiral. How had they learned the language so quickly? This is Colonel Sarah Martinez, commanding Kepler Defense Force. You are in human space without permission. Leave now or we will make you leave. Admiral HFY laughed despite himself. A single planet telling the Grand Fleet to leave. It was like an insect threatening a star. Human Colonel, he replied. You are surrounded by 10,000 ships. Your world has no chance of survival. Surrender now and we will allow your people to return to your home system. The human's response chilled him. She laughed. Not a nervous laugh or a scared laugh. A laugh that sounded like she was looking forward to what came next. Admiral, we are humans from Earth. Earth is a death world where everything tries to kill everything else. We evolved by fighting things much worse than you. We have been preparing for this fight our whole lives. Bring it on. The battle started badly for the Confederacy. Their first wave of ships moved toward the planet in perfect formation, just like they had done 1,000 times before. The human orbital platforms waited until the ships were close before they opened fire. But they did not fire energy weapons like civilized species. They fired chunks of metal accelerated to impossible speeds. Rails guns that threw projectiles so fast they punched through shields like paper. Nuclear missiles that came in swarms too thick to stop. Chemical explosives that should not have worked in space but somehow did. The first wave of Confederacy ships died in minutes. Impossible, Admiral HFY whispered. Their weapons are primitive. They should not be able to penetrate our shields. Sir, the weapons officer said, they are not using energy weapons. They are using kinetic projectiles. Lots of them. Our shields are designed to stop energy attacks, not solid objects moving at relativistic speeds. The Admiral ordered the second wave to attack from longer range. Surely the humans could not hit them from far away with their crude weapons. He was wrong. The human weapons had longer range than Confederacy energy beams. Much longer range. But the real shock came when human ships started launching from the planet. They were not sleek crystal ships like the Confederacy used. They looked like flying metal boxes with engines stuck on the back. They were ugly and crude and should have been easy targets. Instead, they fought like nothing the Admiral had ever seen. When a human ship took damage, it did not retreat to repair. It flew straight at the nearest Confederacy ship and exploded. When human ships were outnumbered, they did not surrender. They scattered in all directions, forcing the Confederacy ships to split up to chase them. The worst part was how the humans fought when their ships were boarded. Confederacy Marines were trained fighters with energy weapons and personal shields. They had conquered 100 worlds, but when they broke into human ships, they found crew members who fought with knives and clubs in their bare hands. Humans who kept fighting even when they were hurt. Humans who would blow up their own ships rather than let them be captured. What kind of species does this? General Crix asked during an emergency meeting on the flagship. They fight like wild animals. Sir, a new report came in. We have intercepted human communications. They are broadcasting instructions to other human colonies. They are sharing our attack patterns and weaknesses. Every defeat makes them stronger. Admiral HFY felt something he had never felt before in battle. Fear. Not fear of dying, but fear of fighting an enemy that seemed to get stronger every time you hit them. The battle for Kepler 442b lasted 3 days. When it was over, the Grand Fleet had lost 2,000 ships. The human colony was destroyed, but the humans had evacuated most of their people in ships that looked like cargo containers but flew like fighters. Worse, the humans had done something no other species had ever done. They made the Grand Fleet look weak. They made other species think the Confederacy could be beaten. As the damaged Grand Fleet pulled back to regroup, Admiral HFY received a message from the human survivors. It was not a surrender or a peace offer. It was a promise. This is Colonel Martinez. Thanks for the warm-up fight. Now we know how you fight. Next time we'll be different. Next time we will be ready. Earth sends its regards. The Admiral stared at the message for a long time. Then he opened a secure channel to High Chancellor Vextar. Chancellor, he said, we have a problem. These humans are not like other species. They do not fight to win territory or resources. They fight to fight. They enjoy battle. They are apex predators from a world that taught them to never give up and never surrender. What are you saying, Admiral? I am saying we may have made a terrible mistake. We are not fighting a normal species trying to expand their territory. We are fighting Deathworlders who see war as just another day at the office, and they are very, very good at their job. The communication ended. In the silence of his command bridge, Admiral HFY looked out at the stars and wondered if the Grand Fleet was big enough for what was coming. Deep down, he was starting to suspect it was not. 3 months after the battle at Kepler 442b, High Chancellor Vextar stood in his crystal palace and watched his empire fall apart. The reports came in every day, each one worse than the last. Human ships were everywhere in Confederacy space, and they did not fight like any enemy the Zephyrians had ever faced. Chancellor, General Crix entered the throne room with his arms full of data tablets. The humans have attacked supply convoys in 17 different systems in the past week. They strike fast and disappear before our fleets can respond. Vextar's crystal fingers gripped his throne until they creaked. How many ships? That is the problem, sir. Sometimes it is 1 ship. Sometimes it is 50. We never know where they will strike next or how many will come. They do not follow any logical attack pattern. This was what frightened Vextar most about the humans. The Confederacy fought wars with rules. You protected your supply lines. You held territory. You fought battles to control important planets or resources. The humans seemed to fight just to cause chaos and fear. What about the Proxima Station battle? Vextar asked. General Crix's face grew pale. Sir, you should read the report yourself. Vextar took the tablet and read about the most insane battle in Confederacy history. A single human ship called the Endurance had attacked a battle group of 30 Zephyrian vessels. Any sane species would have run away or surrendered immediately. The humans fought for 18 hours. The report described how the human ship kept fighting even as it fell apart around the crew. When the engines died, they used backup thrusters. When the weapons stopped working, they fired the escape pods at enemy ships. When the hull was breached in 100 places and half the crew was dead, they kept broadcasting attack data to other human forces. The Endurance finally died when it rammed the Confederacy flagship, taking both ships down in a ball of nuclear fire. But before it died, the human ship had destroyed 13 other vessels and damaged the rest so badly they had to return to base for months of repairs. 14 ships, Vextar said quietly. One primitive human vessel destroyed 14 of our best ships. Yes, sir. But that is not the worst part. What could be worse? The humans broadcast the entire battle across all frequencies. They turned their defeat into a training video. Every human ship in the galaxy now knows exactly how to fight our battle groups. They are learning from every engagement. Vextar felt his crystal heart grow cold. The Confederacy won wars by being superior in every way. Better ships, better weapons, better tactics. The humans were turning their inferiority into an advantage by learning faster than anyone thought possible. Sir, another advisor rushed into the throne room. We are receiving reports from the inner worlds. Member species are asking questions about our ability to protect them. Some are refusing to send tribute ships because they fear human attacks. This was the nightmare scenario. The Confederacy ruled by fear and respect. If member species stopped believing in Confederacy power, the whole empire would collapse. Other species would start thinking they could fight back too. The Altarians have requested permission to build their own defense fleets, the advisor continued. The Taucedians are asking if they should evacuate their outer colonies. The Batans want to know why we cannot stop a few primitive human ships. Vextar stood up from his throne and walked to the great window that showed the 3 sons of Kethmori. For thousands of years, his people had maintained order through strength. They had kept the peace by making sure everyone knew that fighting the Confederacy meant certain death. Now a species from a single death world was making them look weak in front of the entire galaxy. How many human ships do we estimate are operating in our space? He asked. Intelligence believes there are between 500 and 2,000 human vessels conducting operations behind our lines, General Crix replied. But sir, these numbers may be meaningless. The humans convert cargo ships into warships in days. They turn mining equipment into weapons. Every ship they have can fight. What about their home system? Can we strike at Earth directly? We have tried, sir. They have turned their entire system into a fortress. Weapon platforms around every planet and moon. Asteroid bases with enough firepower to stop a fleet. And intelligence suggests they have some kind of planet-killer weapons pointed at their own worlds. Vextar turned back to his advisors. What do you mean? The humans appear to have a policy they call Scorched Earth. If they cannot defend something, they destroy it so their enemies cannot use it. Intelligence believes they would rather destroy their own home system than let us capture it. The Crystal Chancellor felt something break inside his mind. What kind of species would destroy their own worlds rather than surrender? What kind of madness was this? Sir, General Crix said quietly, I believe we need to consider other options. Such as? The humans are not our only enemy. We have been watching the Vraxian Empire for centuries. They have been waiting for us to show weakness. If they think we cannot handle the human threat, they may decide to attack while we are distracted. Vextar nodded slowly. The Vraxians were ancient enemies who had been held in check only by Confederacy superiority. If they thought the humans had found a way to beat Confederacy forces, they might see an opportunity. There is one option, General Crix continued. We could send out a general distress call. Ask other major powers for assistance against the human threat. Absolutely not, Vextar snapped. The Confederacy does not ask for help. We provide help to others. Sir, with respect, the alternative may be the fall of our civilization. Vextar walked back to his throne and sat down heavily. Around him, his advisors waited for his decision. Outside, the 3 sons of Kethmori continued to shine. But for the first time in his life, the Chancellor wondered if they would still be shining over a Confederacy empire in a year. The decision was the hardest of his life. But the facts were clear. The humans were winning. Not through superior technology or numbers, but through pure, bloody-minded refusal to quit fighting. They were a cancer that was eating the Confederacy from within. Prepare a general distress signal, he said finally. Send it on all frequencies to every major power in the galaxy. What should the message say, sir? Vextar closed his crystal eyes and spoke the words that would haunt him forever. The Zephyrian Confederacy requests immediate military assistance against the human Deathworlder threat. Any species capable of rendering aid will be granted full Confederacy membership and territorial concessions. The message went out across the galaxy within hours. For the first time in 3,000 years, the proud Confederacy had admitted they could not handle a threat alone. They had asked for help. What they got in response would be worse than anything they could have imagined. The Confederacy's distress signal traveled across the galaxy at the speed of light, reaching every major civilization within days. Most species ignored it or sent polite messages saying they could not help. A few offered small amounts of aid that would not make any difference. But one species received the message with great interest. Emperor Clicktuck of the Vraxian Empire sat in his hive throne deep in the heart of the Vrax homeworld. His insect body was larger than most vehicles, with 6 arms ending in razor-sharp claws and compound eyes that could see in 17 different light spectrums. Around him, millions of Vraxian drones worked in perfect harmony, each one connected to the great hive mind that he controlled. The Vraxians had been enemies of the Confederacy for 2,000 years. Not because of territory or resources, but because of philosophy. The Confederacy believed in order through control. The Vraxians believed in order through strength. The strong ruled and the weak served. It was natural law. For centuries, the two empires had faced each other across the galactic divide. The Confederacy had better technology and prettier ships. The Vraxians had more ships and soldiers who would die without question when the hive mind commanded it. Neither side had been able to gain an advantage, so they had settled into Cold War. Now the proud Confederacy was asking for help. This pleased Emperor Clicktuck greatly. "Show me the intelligence reports on these humans," he clicked to his military advisors. The data flowed directly into his mind through the hive connection. Everything the Vraxians had learned about humanity in the past months. Their ships, their weapons, their tactics, their psychology. What he learned impressed him. The humans were apex predators from a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. They had evolved by fighting everything from microscopic diseases to massive predators that could swallow a spacecraft. Every human was a survivor of the most hostile environment the galaxy had ever produced. More importantly, they fought like Vraxians, not for glory or honor or abstract ideals, but for survival and dominance. They understood that war was not a game with rules, but a fight to the death where the winner took everything. "These humans interest me," Emperor Clicktuck clicked. "They make the Confederacy bleed, and this pleases the hive. Perhaps we should meet with them." "Your Majesty," his chief military advisor buzzed. "Are you suggesting an alliance with primitives?" "I am suggesting an alliance with apex predators who are destroying our greatest enemy. The Confederacy grows weak fighting these Deathworlders. Soon they will be too weak to defend against us. But if we help the humans hurt them more, the Confederacy will fall faster." Within days, a Vraxian contact ship entered human space near the border world of New Geneva. Unlike the Confederacy's crystal vessels, Vraxian ships looked like they had been grown rather than built. Black and organic, with weapons that resembled insect stingers and hulls that could repair themselves. The humans did not attack immediately, which impressed the Vraxian captain. Most species shot first when they saw a Vraxian ship. The humans waited and listened. "Unknown vessel," came the human transmission. "You are in human space. State your business or leave." "I am Captain Zektar of the Vraxian Empire," the insect officer replied in perfect human English. "We have heard that you fight the Confederacy. This interests us. We request a meeting with your war leaders." The response came back quickly. "Follow the escort ships to New Geneva Station. Try anything stupid and we will blow you into atoms." Captain Zekatar clicked with amusement. The humans did not waste words on politeness or ceremony. They spoke like warriors who had better things to do than talk. The meeting took place on the human battleship Indomitable, orbiting New Geneva. Admiral Sarah Chen waited in the conference room, studying intelligence reports on Vraxian military capabilities. She had fought aliens before, but never one that looked like a giant predator insect. Emperor Clicktuck arrived with minimal ceremony. His massive form barely fit through the modified airlock, and his 6 arms moved in complex patterns as he spoke. Admiral Chen noticed that he carried no visible weapons, but his claws looked like they could cut through steel armor. "Admiral Chen," the Emperor clicked, his words translated by advanced computers. "I am Emperor Clicktuck of the Vrax. You have done something remarkable. You have made the Confederacy afraid. Is that why you are here? To gloat about our war? No. I am here to make that war more interesting. The Emperor's compound eyes focused on her with laser intensity. The Confederacy sent out a distress call asking for help against you. They have never done this before in their entire history. You have accomplished something we could not do in 2,000 years of trying. Admiral Chen leaned back in her chair. What exactly are you proposing? An alliance. You continue doing what you do best, making the Confederacy hurt and bleed and fear. We provide you with intelligence, supply routes, and advanced technology that will make your ships truly dangerous. In return, when the moment is right, we strike at the Confederacy's core worlds while their fleets are busy chasing your ships across the galaxy. And what do you get out of this? Confederacy territory. Access to their trade routes. The pleasure of watching our enemies burn. The Emperor's mandibles clicked in what might have been a smile. Also, we gain allies who understand that war is not a game. You fight like Vraxians fight, to win at any cost. Admiral Chen studied the alien Emperor. Everything about him screamed danger, from his razor claws to his predator eyes. But he was offering exactly what humanity needed. Advanced technology and a second front that would split Confederacy forces. What kind of technology are we talking about? Adaptive armor that learns from enemy weapons and becomes immune to them. Biological computers that can think faster than any artificial intelligence. Weapons that grow stronger the more they are used. Ships that can repair themselves and reproduce in the field. The Admiral felt her pulse quicken. With technology like that, human ships would become unstoppable. The war that had been slowly grinding humanity down could become a quick victory. There is one thing you should know about humans, she said finally. We do not just fight to win. We fight to make sure our enemies never threaten anyone ever again. If we do this together, the Confederacy does not just lose territory. It stops existing. Emperor Clicktack's compound eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Admiral Chen, I believe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. The alliance was formalized within hours. Human engineers began studying Vraxian biotechnology, while Vraxian tacticians shared centuries of intelligence on Confederacy weaknesses. Ships from both species started joint operations that confused and terrified Confederacy forces. The galaxy had seen many alliances before. Trade partnerships, mutual defense pacts, temporary agreements against common enemies. But it had never seen anything like the Deathworld Alliance. Two apex predator species that had evolved to never surrender, working together with a single goal, the complete destruction of their enemies. The Confederacy had asked for help in their hour of need. What they got was the alliance of their worst nightmares. The Deathworlders had found friends who were just as dangerous as they were. The war was about to become much more interesting. The end came faster than anyone expected. Within 6 months of the Deathworld Alliance, the Zephyrian Confederacy was fighting a war on two fronts that they could not win. Human wolf packs, now equipped with Vraxian adaptive armor and biological weapons, tore through supply lines like sharks through water. Vraxian swarm fleets pinned down major battle groups while human ships struck at undefended worlds behind enemy lines. High Chancellor Vextar stood in his crystal palace and watched his empire die. The reports came in every hour, each one telling the same story. Another fleet destroyed, another world lost, another member species switching sides or declaring neutrality. Sir? General Crix entered the throne room with his head hanging low. The outer ring has fallen completely. All 17 systems are now under human or Vraxian control. The humans are using our own mining stations to build more ships. Vextar did not respond. He was watching the tactical display that showed the current state of the war. Red markers for enemy forces, blue for Confederacy forces. 6 months ago, the map had been mostly blue with small red dots scattered around the edges. Now it was mostly red with a few small blue islands that were shrinking every day. What about the core worlds? He asked. The 7th Fleet is making a final stand at Rigel Station. Admiral Zexhai reports that he is facing human and Vraxian forces working in perfect coordination. Their tactics complement each other perfectly. When our ships focus on the fast human ships, the Vraxian swarms overwhelm us. When we focus on the Vraxian numbers, the human ships pick us apart with precision strikes. The Chancellor nodded slowly. The humans and Vraxians had learned to fight as one organism. Human creativity and adaptability combined with Vraxian numbers and biotechnology. It was the perfect military alliance. Sir, another advisor rushed in. We are receiving reports that human ships have been detected in the Kethamori system. They have bypassed all our defenses. Vextar felt his crystal heart stop. Kethmori was the Confederacy capital, protected by 7 rings of defensive stations and the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. If human ships were already in the system, the war was over. How many ships? We are not sure, sir. Their new stealth technology makes them difficult to detect. But intelligence estimates at least 50 vessels, possibly more. Outside the palace windows, Vextar could see explosions starting to bloom in the sky above the capital city. The humans were not orbital bombarding the planet. They were landing. They intended to take the capital intact and in person. Sir, General Crick said quietly, perhaps it is time to consider surrender terms. No, Vextar said firmly. The Confederacy does not surrender. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. We will not bow to primitives from a single death world. But even as he spoke, the Chancellor knew it was over. The greatest empire in galactic history was dying because they had underestimated a species that treated war as a natural part of existence. The battle for Kethmori lasted 6 hours. Human dropships enhanced with Vraxian biotechnology punched through atmospheric defenses that had never been breached. Human soldiers, wearing armor that adapted to enemy weapons in real time, fought through the streets of the capital with a ferocity that terrified the defending forces. The worst part was how the humans fought. They did not try to minimize casualties or preserve infrastructure. They fought like they were having fun. Their battle cries could be heard across the city as they cleared building after building of defenders who had never faced an enemy that enjoyed combat. By sunset, human forces had reached the Crystal Palace. The few remaining Confederacy guards had fled or surrendered. The great halls that had seen the submission of 100 species now echoed with the sound of human boots on crystal floors. Admiral Sarah Chen entered the throne room with Emperor Clicktack beside her. Both had come personally to witness the end of their greatest enemy. Behind them walked a squad of human marines and Vraxian warriors who had fought side by side through the palace defenses. High Chancellor Vexitar sat on his crystal throne, still trying to maintain dignity in defeat. His pale blue skin had lost its shimmer, and his crystal fingers shook with rage and fear. Chancellor Vexitar, Admiral Chen said formally, by the authority of the Terran Defense Force and the Vraxian Empire, I am here to accept your unconditional surrender. I will never surrender to primitives, Vexitar spat. You may have won this battle, but the Confederacy will never bow to Deathworld savages. Admiral Chen smiled coldly. You still do not understand, do you? This was never about making you surrender. This was about making sure you could never threaten anyone ever again. We offered you a place in the Galactic Order. Vexitar continued. We offered you peace and stability under our protection. You could have been our vassals and lived in safety. Chancellor, Admiral Chen's voice carried the weight of every human who had died in the war. We are Deathworlders. We do not want your peace. We do not need your protection. And we sure as hell do not bow to anyone who thinks might makes right. Emperor Clicktack stepped forward, his compound eyes gleaming with satisfaction. You made one critical error, Chancellor. You assumed that because our species were primitive, we would be weak. But predators from harsh worlds are not weak. We are strong. We are adaptable, and we never stop fighting. You wanted to teach us our place in the Galactic Order, Admiral Chen continued. Consider this lesson received and returned with interest. The galaxy does not belong to the strongest empire or the most advanced civilization. It belongs to the species willing to fight hardest to protect what they care about. Vexitar looked around his ruined throne room at the human and Vraxian soldiers who had conquered his empire. What happens now? Now you learn what it means to live under the protection of apex predators, Admiral Chen replied. The Confederacy is dissolved. Your member species are free to choose their own governments. Your military is disbanded. Your warships are scrapped or converted to civilian use. And us? What happens to the Zephyrian people? Emperor Clicktack answered with clicking mandibles. You will live. You will be protected, but you will never again have the power to threaten other species. This is the mercy of predators who have won completely. The formal surrender was broadcast across all frequencies to every species in the galaxy. The message was simple and clear. The Zephyrian Confederacy had fallen to the combined forces of humanity and the Vraxian Empire. The age of Confederacy rule was over, but more importantly, every species received a second message from the new alliance. They were free to choose their own path. free to trade with whoever they wanted, free to defend themselves or ask for protection, free to explore and expand without asking permission from anyone. The galaxy belonged to its people now, not to any single empire. Standing on the crystal balcony of the former Chancellor's palace, Admiral Chen looked up at the stars and smiled. Somewhere out there, human and Vraxian ships were helping former Confederacy subjects establish their own governments. Somewhere out there, the children of Earth were building new colonies on worlds where they could live free from the fear of alien conquest. Admiral, one of her officers approached. We are receiving reports from across the galaxy. Former Confederacy species are requesting diplomatic contact with the Alliance. They want to establish trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. Good, Admiral Chen replied. Make sure they know that membership in our alliance is voluntary. No tribute, no forced military service, no giving up their independence. Anyone who wants to be our friend is welcome. Anyone who wants to be left alone will be left alone. And if anyone tries to build another empire like the Confederacy, Admiral Chen's smile became predatory. Then they will learn the same lesson the Confederacy learned. The Deathworlders are watching, and we do not like bullies. The war was over. The galaxy was free, and two species that had evolved in the harshest environments imaginable had become its guardians. The stars belonged to everyone now, and humanity had made sure it would stay that way. Earth sent its regards to the galaxy, and the galaxy was grateful.